Now, the MSU Federal Credit Union Coaches Show.
This past Saturday was not great for Michigan State's football team. A 38-13 loss to UCLA at home on homecoming left a lot of fans inside of Spartan Stadium quite frustrated with the state of the program. It also dropped MSU to 3-3 this season and 0-3 in the Big Ten. Here's a quick recap of how things went this past Saturday.
By the way, this is a really nice October day. It's overcast. There's no real rain in the forecast. A little bit overnight, but it's 56 degrees, humidity 76%, and light winds. For homecoming in East Lansing, Michigan, Spartan Stadium, UCLA visiting Michigan State for the first time these two teams have played in 51 years.
UCLA was coming off a win over Penn State, and the Bruins carried that momentum into East Lansing last week. MSU got on the board first as Aiden Childs takes it himself, finds the end zone.
Opening drive produces 6 points and a potential 7th here for Michigan State.
But that would be the only offensive success the Spartans would see in the first half. At the end of the first quarter, UCLA's Jalen Berger, a former Spartan, gets some good blocking and finds the gap to run it in from 16 yards out. UCLA takes a 10-7 lead.
And so for the first time this year, a player besides Nico Iamaleava has a rushing touchdown for the Bruins.
Second quarter now, UCLA quarterback Nico Iamaleava had plenty of time and finds Berger for his second TD of the day. The Bruins would add another and lead 24-7 at halftime.
Berger's run one in. He just caught a pass from Nico Iamaleava, and the lead swells to 9 right now for the Bruins on the road.
Second half now, it was more of the same for Iamaleava. All day to throw, he finds Berger, who does the rest for his third TD of the day, making it 38-7.
1:44 to go in the third quarter. It was 7-0 Michigan State after their first drive of the game, and every point since scored by the Bruins.
At least from up top, looked like this was a physical hit. Didn't even necessarily see a lot of it coming, and God.
Timeout for an injured offensive player. Number 2 is presented as injured prior to the ball being spotted. No timeout will be charged.
The Spartans had no answers for the Bruins. Aiden Childs left this game with an injury in the third quarter. Backup QB Alessio Milivojevic did find Nick Marsh for a touchdown late in the game. However, UCLA would take care of business 38-13. MSU falls to 0-3 in Big Ten play, and Kara Adams has more from a disastrous day at Spartan Stadium.
But overall, the last 8 quarters of football, find me a team in America that has done what they've done. I mean, they moved the line of scrimmage against Penn State. They own the line of scrimmage again today. And for Tim Skipper, congratulations, man. This has been so impressive.
It was yet another disappointing showing for Michigan State as they lost their third straight Big Ten game in a row on homecoming weekends.
Just not good enough. Starting with myself, I think about the staff as we're responsible. Prepare these guys through the week so they come out and execute and play with great energy, and we didn't have it today.
There was no stopping Jerry Neuheisel's new and reformed UCLA offense, and Michigan State's defense gave up 418 yards.
Defensively, we just have to do a better job of executing and responding, and just when you're seeing something for the first time hasn't shown up on film, just having how being a racer and just getting to the ball, getting on the ground, line up and play again. We just got to do a better response and execution.
I don't think we matched UCLA's new life, new energy on some one-on-ones and got beat. I don't think there was any loafing out there. I still think the care factor is there with this team. No, I just think that we got to come up on a Saturday. Where I'm leading into, I'm thinking we got to look at how much we're working during the week, so they got some freshness on Saturdays as well. But I don't think there's a factor or lack of care out of the group.
Offensively, the Spartans were flat, and Aiden Childs completed just 8 of 17 passes.
We missed a couple open throws early, anticipating that. And then when you miss early, you feel like you want to get into a rhythm. I think passing is a lot about rhythm, and we have failed to get into one in the passing game the last couple weeks.
Additionally, Spartan Stadium was not filled with the normal enthusiasm and cheers, but instead a lot of boos.
I like playing at a place and being a part of a program that people genuinely care, have some energy and passion behind it, and that's a two-way street. When you're at a place, there's a high amount of care factor and passion with it, So if you're asking for that, you're going to get it on both ends.
Junior captain Jordan Hall said this team will continue to work through these tough times and try and get better. But the road ahead only gets tougher as the Spartans head to top-ranked Indiana next weekend. In Spartan Stadium, I'm Kara Adams.
Thank you, Kara. It will not be easy this weekend, taking on the Hoosiers, who just defeated Oregon on the road last weekend and have the second highest scoring offense in the Big Ten. Coming up after the break, we'll sit down with head coach Jonathan Smith to discuss more about the loss to UCLA as well as Saturday's clash with Indiana.
When you're shopping, do you get cash back with cash?
Nope.
What about when you use a debit card?
Not a chance.
But when you use MSU FCU's Cashback Plus?
Heck yeah.
Get up to 20% cash back on your purchases with Cashback Plus. Dining out? Cash back. Online shopping? Cash back. Home improvement? Cash back. Discover more at msufcu.org/cashbackplus.
Welcome back to the MSU Federal Credit Union Coaches Show.
The road to getting their first Big Ten win of the season and ending a 3-game losing streak does not get any easier for Michigan State's football team, as they will be on the road this Saturday taking on number 3 Indiana. It was clear during the loss to UCLA last weekend, the fan base has gotten frustrated with the state of the program, as there was a lot of boos inside of Spartan Stadium during Michigan State's 38-13 loss to UCLA. We sat down with head coach Jonathan Smith this week, and he knows things have to be better. Obviously, the loss to UCLA, not ideal for anyone involved with the program. What was sort of the biggest issue you noticed from Saturday?
Well, a repeated lack of execution, sometimes trying to do too much, and got ourselves out of position, and it hurt us. I think also just we lost some one-on-one battles, whether we're talking about coverage, didn't win them offensively, tackling, those things showed up too much and turned into a bad performance.
I know injuries are piling up, it seems like, especially on defense, but giving up now 35 points at least 4 times this season. I guess what is that, just the one-on-ones and executions that's the biggest issue right now?
Well, I mean, some of that one-on-one, but then the execution, think about it, especially the run game, right? Fitting the runs and gap control, being in our gap, and then being physical at the line of scrimmage. So all that kind of compounds to being a defense that's giving up too much in the run game on Saturday.
Joe Rossi had said earlier in the week that he felt like you guys have had good practices throughout the last 3 weeks. What is the key to getting practice to translate to?
Yeah, that's the formula, right? As coaches, you got to put in great work during the week, and these guys have in regards to the energy, focus. It's not perfect work, that's why you practice, but getting that translated into a game did not play out on Saturday. I think we've been known for a response type of team. The first 2 road games in the conference play, got ourselves down, fought right back into it. That didn't show up on Saturday.
Obviously, there were boos as well on Saturday. You never want that at home on homecoming, but how do you address that with the players? I'm sure for some of them, that's the first time they have been booed.
Yeah, I think it's some of the realities. So they say these terms blocking out outside noise. I do want to play and be a part of a place where we got a passionate fan base, and this stuff means something to them, and we want to be a part of that. At the same time, what we can control is ourselves in our preparation, and then ultimately our execution. We got to do it better.
What is it about, I guess, with the players right now Sunday? What did you like about the way that they maybe were trying to respond, or what they pointed out their mistakes?
I liked some of the genuine accountability to it, when you be able to analyze the tape and see them trying to do too much out of my area of responsibility. You got to find ways to simplify things so they're clear-minded and playing fast. And so I liked the approach in regards to multiple voices as they digested the tape, not just only call it head coach, coordinator, captain, leader of a position group, those kind of things. You mentioned too on Saturday that there is urgency to get this turned around and get this right. Where does that, I guess, start, or how do you have to change anything to get that going? Well, you got to look at everything. I do think you look at, we played 6 games now, so we call it a halftime. We're at half point of our regular season here, and so halftime adjustments always take place. And so it starts with, as coach, as the leadership of this team, you're always looking ways do it better.
You were asked this Saturday, and you were just asked this in your press conference. You know, there's head coaches that are being let go just for 2 years in, or a long tenure coach. What is the pressure to win nowadays compared to 5 years ago?
Yeah, I definitely think that the realities, as you look at college football, they're sooner for changes and things, and that's the part of the environment. I don't think that it should change in regards to how we're approaching, understanding that we're diving into these guys and getting it better. There's urgency to get it fixed, and then the outcomes are the outcomes.
This is last past Saturday, second straight game Alessio was able to get in, obviously with Aiden being hurt. What have you liked, I guess, in the game reps that Alessio's been getting?
I think he's had some poise out there. He knows the plan, right? He hasn't started the game, but he's preparing like a starter, which we ask all our number twos to do. He's gone out there and functioned well, made some good decisive throws. There's been some plays to clean up, but he's been prepared when he's gone out there.
With, I guess, if he is the one that is going to be starting on Saturday against Indiana, what sort of has he been able to help with Aiden, or how has Aiden been able to help him in that role?
Yeah, both those guys have been working well, really together throughout their time here. They're close. They talk a ton in the meetings, whether even in between reps. One guy's taking a rep, the other guy's watching it, and they're always digesting. So they've had a great working friendship since they've been here.
Won't be easy, obviously, on Saturday on the road against number 3 team in the country. But what makes Indiana just so dangerous and number 3 right now?
Yeah, I mean, obviously they're good and ranked appropriately. You look at it, I think about just how complete they are. Offensively, defensively, special teams, sound, physical, athletic, quarterback plays, decisive and accurate, so they're a complete team.
Do you go back to last year's film when you guys played them at all?
Yeah, you look at really the last 2 years, because the schematics have been pretty similar, so you're looking at all of that.
And obviously the old brass spittoon is something that the two programs play for. Do you have to teach the players anything on that, or do you?
I do like talking about trophy games and the history behind it, and we're playing for something.
Saturday's game with the Hoosiers will be at 3:30 and can be seen on Peacock. Now, upsetting a ranked Indiana team is something Michigan State has done a few times this fall. The men's soccer team did it last month, and the volleyball team did it this past Sunday at the Breslin Center. We'll have more on that victory right after the break.
Welcome back to the MSU Federal Credit Union Coaches Show.
After going a perfect 10-0 through non-conference play, the Michigan State volleyball team is now going through the gauntlet that is the Big Ten schedule. This past Sunday, the Spartans upset number 20 Indiana here at the Breslin Center, and our Desharian McBroom has more on the biggest win thus far for first-year head coach Kristen Kelsey.
MSU volleyball was looking to stay unbeaten at home on Sunday, taking on an Indiana team that came in tied with Nebraska atop the Big Ten standings. First set, Spartans on serve receive, and Malaya Long fakes the set and dumps it into the gap for the point. MSU up 21-19. Plays like this show why Indiana has been so formidable this year. The Hoosiers tee it up for Avery Tatum, and there's no chance to stop a swing like that. Hoosiers back within 1. But on set point, Long serves it over, and Zuzana Kulik rises for the block, then sets it to a vacated spot on the Hoosiers' side. MSU takes the first set 25-21. More from Kulik in the second. A nice dig by Karolina Stanchevska leads to a quick set for another Kulik kill. MSU won set 2 25-19. In the third, Evie Duzema's initial hit is blocked, but the Spartans go right back to her, and this time she puts it down. MSU inching closer to its first sweep of a ranked opponent since 2017. And on match point, Charlotte Vinson's serve lands out of bounds, and the celebration is on. MSU got a statement win with a 3-set sweep of Indiana.
After picking up their biggest win of the season, Michigan State head volleyball coach Kristen Kelsey talked about the determination of her team and how that has helped to mold this year's program.
And they just fight and they don't give up. And that's what I told them. I said, you guys are becoming really, really good volleyball players, and they allow me to coach them. But most of all, it's like who they are and what they've bought into in this program and the way that we're moving forward.
Well, I think one of our values is Spartan family, and so we take a lot of pride in coming here and playing on our home gym, and we don't want to let anyone come in here and walk all over us. So I think it's just a big testament to our Spartan family and representing our school.
In almost every sport, you hear coaches say defense wins championships, and Kilsey is no different with her team, challenging the Spartans to stand tall at the net and respond when teams attack.
I told them that our defense is going to win us this game because Indiana has arguably the best offense and the fastest offense in the Big Ten. So really proud of the way we showed up. Even when we were making some blocking calls, we were getting in there and digging balls, sometimes on an open net, and that takes a lot of courage.
Indiana was ranked 20th in the nation at the time of last week's match. And in order to get the win, the Spartans used what they learned against other opponents this season to earn their first ranked win of the year.
They're a great team, and I think we were able to be prepared for their fast offense with Michigan's fast offense, so I think this just instills a ton of confidence in our team, and we're ready to move on.
I learned that they're not afraid. Right? They're not afraid. And I told them after the Illinois match, I said, you can beat anybody in this league. And I'm not sure if they fully believe me. But I'm the instiller of belief, right? And that I know they can do it. And the more we find success, the more I know they will believe that.
Next Saturday, the volleyball team will be taking on #1 Nebraska on the road, and they aren't the only ones on campus with that type of challenge in front of them. The MSU hockey team is taking on #1 Boston this weekend, and we'll have more from Munn Ice Arena right after the break.
Welcome back to the MSU Federal Credit Union Coaches Show.
Coming off a season-opening series split with New Hampshire this past weekend, Michigan State's hockey team dropped back one spot in the rankings to #3. This weekend, the Spartans are playing at #1 Boston, and it'll be a good chance for them to show why they were picked to win the Big Ten for a third straight season. There's a lot of high expectations for MSU this season, and we recently had a chance to sit down with head coach Adam Nightingale to talk more about those expectations and more. What have you liked so far about this group? I know they're young, obviously, but what have you liked just about the team early?
Well, I think they're excited to be at the rink. I think as a coach, you want guys that are passionate about being at the rink, and so you can feel that youthful energy and excitement about practicing and being in the weight room. And obviously, they're here. They want to play games, and so really looking forward to the weekend.
What have you enjoyed too with the freshmen? I know you have 11 freshmen. Is that typical for you the last few years, or is that a little more? It'd
be a little more. Maybe after our first year, I think our second year we had quite a few new guys, right? And so we got 13 total new guys, 11 freshmen. I think that's the reality. We had 3 guys sign early and leave, so you got three spots right there. You got to fill outside of the normal size of class. So I think that's the new reality of college athletics and college hockey specifically. And our job is to go out and try to find the right guys that are ready to step in and help us be a good hockey team.
Coming off the success of last season, of winning the Big Ten tournament, all that stuff, how have you seen the upperclassmen to really push the underclassmen now this year?
Yeah, I think we're fortunate. We got a great leadership group, and led by Matt Bazgal, and he's been here. Bazzy and Danny Russell and Tiernan Shouty have been here since we got here, right? So they understand how we want to do things, and our guys got here early July, and that's what that time of the year is really about. Is obviously we're training, we're trying to get stronger and faster and bigger and all those different things, and but it's also establishing our culture, right? And we can do it as a staff, and we do it every single day to try to reinforce it, but we're not in the locker room every second. We're not on the airplane. We're not on the bus, and we're not back in the apartment. So I think having strong leadership to make sure we're having the right time conversations so guys really understand what it means to play hockey at Michigan State. With Matt being the captain for this group this year, right away when he came in as a freshman, did you know he had those leadership skills, or has he grown into that? I think he always has been a leader on different spots he's been, and you could tell he's got a serious side to him and a committed side to him, but he's also able to connect with his teammates. And I think the biggest thing you're looking for, a couple things, right, in a leader is, are they genuine and authentic, right? If you're an up and down person, it's going to be hard to be a leader. And I think Bazzi does a really good job of being consistent. We've had some tough moments here as a program since we've been here. We've had some great moments, and Bazzi's found a way to stay even keel. You know, I think that's important for our team, especially when we talk about a lot of new guys. Is, you know, not every night's going to go our way, and we hope it does. But you know, it's about the next game and the next shift, and I think Bazzi really understands that.
What do you like about this group, and what makes them unique versus the previous 3 years that you've been here?
You know, I think that it's a smart group, you know, and I think it's hard to teach smarts in hockey, right? You can try to help guys with it, and we you know, through video and reps and practice, but I think the hockey IQ of the group is really high, and I really like the competitiveness of it. You know, I think that you know, you look up and down our lineup, you know, we got guys that aren't in the lineup that are ultra competitive, that are smart players, and I think that helps the whole group grow. You know, talk about practice. So, you know, I think that side of it, and I think that just the potential of the group, right? And we got to make sure. I think potential is a word that gets thrown around, and you know, if you don't reach it, you know, that becomes an insult, right? So you got to make sure that potential never becomes an insult.
It seems like, I mean, obviously you guys were picked to win the Big Ten, and how do you keep this team even keel, or is that sort of something they do on their own?
Yeah, I think we've talked about it since we got here, right? We're not really concerned about rankings or what people, you know, think of us. We care about getting better, right? And you know, you got to fight complacency. I mean, you talk about stunting development of a team. That's one of them. And there's a lot of distractions. There's a lot of landmines out there between social media and buddies, friends, families, moms, dads, aunts, uncles, all people that care about you. But also, you know, you got to tune out noise. And you know, you look at this group, we literally haven't done anything yet. You know, and so we got a lot to prove. But also maintaining our foundation of what we are as a program. You know, and we're a team first program, and we're not interested in stealing games. We want to go out and earn games, and that's the goal come this weekend.
I feel like that ranking came because of the talent people view on this roster. Obviously, there's a lot of draft picks. With a freshman with Caden, start with him, Lidstrom. What have you liked about him so far early in his time here? Yeah, he's a super committed kid. You know, he's coming off an injury, so it'll take him some time, but he's very committed. And you watch him in the weight room in his preparation. You watch him practice. He's a very athletic player and explosive player. And you know, I really love his fire that he has, you know, and our job and his job is to harness that in the right way, and which he already has shown that he's going to do. And but I think he's just, again, a young player that's just scratching the surface.
Moving around the net, trying to find open area, goes in, and he has scored.
And for Porter, he obviously introduced himself to the fan base pretty early in the exhibition. What have you liked about him, obviously being a freshman as well? Yeah, he's kind of a hockey player, right? He's smart. He's got a good stick. He's not afraid to stick his nose in there. And you know, I think for him, just acclimating to the pace of the game, right? I think that's one thing with college hockey. When you're playing fewer games, the pace is high, you know. And so this will be great for his development. That's an area he knows he needs to improve to be the player he dreams about being. But he's a great teammate. He's all in on Michigan State, and he's off to a great start. Being able to get players from the Canadian League, how do you think that can help grow the college hockey game, especially Big Ten? Yeah, there's at the end of the day, it's about 1,600 more players that are eligible to play college hockey. You know, and I think that you know, not all the guys are going to want to do it, or all of them are good enough to do it, and maybe it's not the best path for them. But we think it's a really good option for these kids that are maybe not ready to play in the NHL and need another year to grow their body. And I also think the environment in college, where you're not living with a family, right? You're a little bit more on your own. You got to do a little bit of cooking on your own. You got to do your laundry on your own, and you know, reps of just interacting in the community. And you know, I think there's so many positives outside of just, you know, obviously your degree is an unbelievable thing, but just the life skills you learn at a university, I think it can set these guys up when they do turn pro. Last one I got for you. You talked before the season started about some scars maybe of last season. Obviously, when you look around, there's a lot of banners and celebrations from last year, but I guess how does last year's result and how it ended, how is that motivating, especially the coaching staff or returning guys? For sure. No, I think that's important for our guys. You can never forget where we were, right, and where we've worked hard to try to get our program back going. And you know, I've talked to our guys about that. You know, a lot of these guys are going to come into Munn. You know, the new guys, we've got 13 new guys, and see Munn full. Well, that wasn't the case, right? And so, and I don't believe in giving away tickets. I think it's our responsibility to earn a crowd. And when we go out and play, you know, again, we're not going to win every game, but we are going to play our best, and we're going to play our hardest, and we're going to play as a team. And but I think scars are a good thing too, right? I think that because it's a very vivid memory of what happened and why it happened. And if you're humble enough to say, okay, those are things that we got to do better, and it's an opportunity to grow forward. Of course, the biggest scar from last season is getting upset by Cornell in the first round of the NCAA tournament. Nightingale and his team have learned from that experience and are hoping it motivates them throughout this season as they hope to reach another Big Ten title and winning a national championship. We'll have much more with the Spartan hockey program as the season moves along. For now, though, that'll be it for this week's show. As always, we hope you enjoyed, and we'll see you next week.
Now, the play of the week, sponsored by Chupan & Sons.
24-18. Vincent to serve. And it's a service error. And Michigan State wins against the ranked Hoosiers in a sweep. Brooms out.
When you're shopping, do you get cash back with cash?
Nope.
What about when you use a debit card?
Not a chance.
But when you use MSU FCU's Cashback Plus?
Heck yeah.
Get up to 20% cash back on your purchases with Cashback Plus. Dining out? Cash back. Online shopping? Cash back. Home improvement? Cash back. Discover more at msufcu.org/cashbackplus.